Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. This is Abhilasha, and I'm back again with yet another episode of Mornings with the Hindu. My heartfelt apologies to everyone who's been waiting for the last 2 minutes. I don't know what went wrong with my system. We were trying to stream the live stream, but it was just not happening. All right, I'm so happy to be back with you. In today's reading, we are talking of Joe Biden, the journey to Washington. Champ, the measure of a man is not how often he is knocked down, but how quickly he gets up. Joe Biden, the presumptive Democratic nominee for the White House, would repeat these words of his father, perhaps suitable for his own life of tragedies and triumphs. There will be more in store for Mr. Biden as he and the incumbent US President Donald Trump battle it out at the polls this November. Born into an Irish Catholic family in Scranton, Pennsylvania in 1942, Mr. Biden moved to Delaware at the age of 11, as his father was in search of a stable job. Joe, the eldest of four siblings, struggled with a severe stutter and so successfully overcame it and then going on to train as a lawyer. He worked at a law firm before running for the US Senate from Delaware. In 1972, Mr. Biden's wife, Nelia, and baby daughter Naomi died in a car accident. His sons, Bo and Hunter, survived. Mr. Biden had just won one of the Delaware seats to the US Senate. Eventually, he would remarry and have a third child. Mr. Biden would remain a senator until becoming Barack Obama's vice president in 2009. Tragedy struck him again in 2015 when Bo Biden died of brain cancer. As someone who spent decades on Capitol Hill, Mr. Biden unsurprisingly has a long track record which has won both praise and criticism. His long career has also meant shifts over time on positions. Mr. Biden has pitched himself as someone who can build consensus in Washington, and some of his legislative actions he has explained as attempts to build compromise with Republicans. Controversial votes. Other votes have been harder for Mr. Biden to defend. During the primary season, Mr. Biden was criticized for various votes, including his support in October 2002 for legislation authorizing the president to use force in Iraq, or his opposition to court-mandated busing of students to desegregate schools. In April 2019, the Biden campaign announced that the former vice president had reached out to Anita Hill, who had accused Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas of sexual harassment. Mr. Biden had expressed regret for how he handled Ms. Hill's accusation and her part in the process when he was chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee during the Thompson confirmation hearings in 1991. Also in 2019, there were allegations by women that Mr. Biden had made inappropriate physical contact with them. He reacted by saying that politics to him had always been about making connections, but he would be more mindful in the future about personal space. Then came Tara Reid, a woman from Nevada who briefly worked as a staff assistant in Mr. Biden's Senate office in the 1990s. Miss Reid told a Nevada newspaper last year that Mr. Biden had touched her inappropriately when she worked at his office. This year, she said Mr. Biden had sexually assaulted her, a charge Mr. Biden has unequivocally denied. Earlier this month, Mr. Biden had won 1991 delegates and has all but formally won the Democratic nomination contest. In order to mobilize maximum support for an agenda from moderate and progressive Democratic voters, the team of Mr. Biden and Senator Bernie Sanders announced unity task forces to reach common ground on a range of policy areas, from climate to criminal justice reform. The two candidates differed significantly on several policy fronts, including healthcare and student debt. Foreign policy. In terms of foreign policy, Mr. Biden has talked about restoring America's moral leadership. He has said he will bring the US back into the Paris Climate Agreement and renew America's commitment to NATO. On China, Mr. Biden has proposed that the US and its allies get tough while cooperating in areas such as health, climate change, and so forth. He wants the vast majority of troops in Afghanistan and West Asia pulled out and an end to US support for the Saudi-led war in Yemen. Mr. Biden has consistently come out ahead of Mr. Trump in recent polls. With a raging pandemic, high levels of unemployment, and widespread anger at the killing of George Floyd, Mr. Biden, if he wins the presidency, will find himself occupying a crucial position in a world of chaos. The crux of the passage is this: Joe Biden is Democratic nominee for the upcoming presidential election in November. Born in an Irish Catholic family in Scranton, Pennsylvania in 1942, 1972, his wife and daughter died. Allegations of sexual harassment has been made against him, which was categorically denied. Recent polls show Biden ahead of Trump in the race for president. With increasing unemployment and protests raging, he would be in for a ride if elected as a president. All right, let's look at the questions now. Question number 1. Which of the following statements is not verifiable from the article? A. Joe Biden became vice president in 2009 under Josh Bush's presidency. His son Beau Biden died of brain cancer in 2015. He was a senator from Delaware. Mr. Biden and Senator Bernie Sanders announced unity task forces to reach common ground on a range of policy areas. All right, guys, come on. Let's quickly get your answers in. Kaushik, good morning. Ritik, Ronak, Garima, Saibal, Akash, Shrishti, Dhruv, Manoj, Mohit, Navya, Kunal, Shuvrajyoti, Manisha, Divyanshi, Shrishti, Gaurav. Come on, guys, let's get your answers in. Yes, so I'm getting A from most of you. Yes, the correct answer is A. Joe Biden became vice president in President Obama's presidency and not under George Bush's presidency. So that is the one that was not verifiable from the passage. The others have all been mentioned and are true. Okay, very good. Let's come to question number 2. Which of the following is a controversy surrounding Joe Biden? He was a former member of the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan. Black Lives Matter movement has been turned violent under his leadership. He was born in an Irish Catholic family and he supported the legislation authorizing the president to use force in Iraq in 2002. All right, guys, let's quickly look at question number 2 and identify what the correct answer for this one is. Guys, I'm waiting for your answer quickly. All right, I've started getting some answers. Ronak, Sheetal, Mohit, Navya, Shrishti, all are saying D. All right, very good, you guys. So I'm getting some more answers. I've got Ankush, Yash, Vinay, Kaushik, Bhumit, Shuvrajyoti, Saibal, Dhruv, Smriti, all of you are saying D. Navya, Mohit, Akash, Gaurav, Anand. Very good. Yes, guys, you are absolutely right. Option D is the correct answer, that he supported the legislation authorizing President Obama to use force in Iraq in 2002. And that is the controversy that he is currently facing. What are the promises of Biden regarding America's external affairs if he is to become president? That is question number 3. Come on, guys, very quickly. Let's get question number 3 in. What are the promises made by Mr. Biden regarding America's external affairs if he is to become president? Is he going to bring the US back into the Paris Climate Agreement? He will increase US support for the Saudi-led war in Yemen. He will denuclearize the United States of America, or is it D, all of the above? So I'm getting A as the answer. Yash, Kaushik, Anand, Sheetal, Vinay, Mohit. No, Mohit has given B. The others have given A. Navya says A. Ronak, Bhumit, Akash, Saibal, Gaurav, Shrishti, Dhruv, Ankush, Smriti. All of you are saying A is the correct answer. Yes, you are right. He has promised to bring the US back into the Paris Climate Agreement. He has promised to withdraw US from the Saudi-led war in Yemen. Denuclearizing the United States of America has not been mentioned in the passage, and therefore we really can't say if that is correct. So yes, the correct answer is going to be A. Let's look at the fourth and the last question for this. What is the tone of the author in the lines? Other votes have been harder for Mr. Biden to defend. During the primary season, Mr. Biden was criticized for various votes, including his support in October 2002 for legislation authorizing the president to use force in Iraq, or his opposition to court-mandated busing of students to desegregate schools. Is the writer angry? Is he being laudatory? Is he exhorting? Or is he criticizing? Let's quickly get your tones in. Exhorting, remember, means to ask someone to do something very forcefully. Laudatory means very full of praise. Angry, of course, I don't need to tell you. And criticizing, of course, also I don't really need to tell you if he is complaining about something that someone has done. So those are the correct tones that are mentioned here. Let's quickly take a look. Okay, I'm getting D as the correct answer. Yes, guys, all of you have got it right. The writer here is criticizing Mr. Biden very clearly. He says that he has been finding it difficult to get more votes or to defend these other votes, and he has been criticized for legislation that authorized the president to use force, or he has opposed court-mandated busing of students to desegregate schools, and therefore clearly the writer is criticizing in these lines. All right, guys, that's a good job. 4 on 4 for how many people? Let me get your answers in. How many of you got 4 on 4 correct today? Triumphs, of course, means achievements or victories. Catholic, of course, is Christian, belonging to the Roman Catholic Church. Stutter means when you stammer, when you cannot speak very clearly. Consensus, of course, means one single opinion. Criticism, of course, is when you're being when you have said something wrong and you are being spoken about for that. Mandated is ordered. Harassment is trouble. Unequivocal, remember guys, comes from equi and vocal. So unequivocal is in one voice. Desegregate, of course, means to bring together. Remember, segregate means to separate. So desegregate will mean not separate or to bring together. Agenda, of course, is plan. Raging is raging can be used in so many ways. One, you're raging, that means you're angry. Two, chaos means raging also means fire is breaking out. Chaos, of course, means confusion. So that also is there. All right, guys, with that, we come to the end of today's session. I can see so many 4 on 4s. There is Saibal, there is Kaushik, there is Dhruv, there is Bhumit, there is Vinay, there is Priyanka, there is Akash, there is Yash, there is Anand. It's wonderful, you guys. You are all getting 4 on 4. That's wonderful. From tomorrow, I'm going to make the questions tougher so that you find it more challenging to do these questions. All right, guys, remember at noon today, we have another session on the Unacademy regular class schedule. So come and attend the special session at noon. And of course, today starts my brand new course on critical reasoning. So do join up at 8 p.m. 9 p.m. of course we are doing reading comprehension. So that's the schedule for the day, guys. Remember, don't forget to like, share and subscribe this session. Please share, please like and please subscribe also. Thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. for our Hindu regular reading. Thank you. Bye bye. Adios, my amigos. Hasta la vista.